Michelle, the director of the Board of Health, wants to get some information out there because there was some confusion on the public
Everybody,
hearing.
I'm Michelle Damaris, I'm the Public Health Director. Apparently there was misinformation that was given to the retailers. I'm assuming you're all retailers, except for the Girls Inc. people. Okay. There is no public hearing tonight. This is my monthly Board of Health meeting. You will not have the opportunity to speak. This is not a public hearing. The public hearing will be scheduled for sometime in April. So you will not have the opportunity to speak.
Is that on the agenda?
The agenda item that I have is for a flavor ban discussion, but it's a discussion among the board. You'll have no input and you won't be allowed to say anything. And the board will not be taking any motions tonight. So you can leave, you can stay, but if you stay, you won't be allowed the opportunity to speak.
We are going to set the date tonight, I believe, for that public hearing, so if you stay, you'll know when it is, so you don't,
So we can stay, right?
if you want to come
You're
back.
more than, the board
But we
of
cannot
health
give
meetings,
opinion or ask anything, but,
the board, you're not, no.
right, yeah, but we can stay still.
Yeah, all right.
Okay? All right, we're going to call the March 12th Board of Health meeting to order. First order of business would be to approve the minutes of the March 6th meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking for a motion for acceptance? All those in favor? Aye. Pass. First order on the agenda, I believe, is the stop and compare market. Michelle?
16 Crescent Street.
Oh, you want 16 Crescent Street first?
Yes.
Okay. 16 Crescent
Is
Street.
there anyone here for 16 Crescent Street?
Okay. I'm going to turn the gavel to John. I'm making a motion that at this time, the board will table any actions regarding 16 Crescent Street, and it will be an order of business for the April Board of Health meeting. Thanks, George. Okay. Now, stop and compare?
Yes, please.
Okay. I believe we have someone here from, but Michelle, I think you've got a...
So, Attorney Vitale, since I spoke with you, or somebody from your office, you last week, an inspection was done on Stop and Compare, and they are in compliance. So everything's up to code.
A happy ending to a story.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's
Yeah, no,
all...
we appreciate your efforts. You know, you and I believe in your wife were here before telling us what your plans were, and things happen that stall them or whatnot. And we would just ask, you know, if you get the inspection, do what you got to do. We don't, not that we don't want to see you, but we got better things to do than...
Mark, as you know, is the chief operating officer. He took it very seriously. It's a serious matter.
Yeah.
Some of them were administrative, posting of signs, tagging of product. Some of them were housekeeping. They made a good faith effort in terms of instructing their personnel what is required. They cooperated with the various sanitarians and inspectors that came in. And then, yeah, we were pleased to learn, because that was sort of unannounced, that inspector coming back most recently.
On February 25th.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
We
Yes,
appreciate
right.
your investment in the city. We appreciate your compliance. It makes everyone's life easier.
Yeah, I see the paper of record is here. I think I saw an article recently that said Lynn is underserved in terms of the needs for supermarkets. And Stop and Compare has been in East Lynn for many years.
Oh, yeah.
And then their success is because they generally cater to a community that has an appreciation for the pricing that they have and the product that they display, and they just want to continue doing business and do it in the right way.
That's what we want. Thank you very much. We
And as
appreciate
of
your efforts.
February-
Thank you, Sam.
As of February 25th, you were, so
Okay.
you're all good.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Sorry about
No,
that.
that's all right, thank you.
Okay, Michelle, what do you want to do next? Thanks a lot.
On the agenda, the Girls Inc. girls are here to do a presentation on the plastic bag ban that I would like to discuss with you. So I think that surrounding communities do it, and it is something that I think going forward we should talk about.
Okay. Do you want to have the presentation first?
Yeah? Yeah, we're all set. Come on up. John.
He's trying.
You need the lights.
Do you need the light?
Mary, do you need the light?
Do you need the light?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It says it. Is that reading it?
Yeah, it was displaying it earlier, but
Yeah, I tried to open it and I couldn't find it.
Hello there.
Do you have your adapter?
yeah,
Do you want to just grab my other computer?
sure. And we could pass out the
Yeah.
handouts in the meantime. Anything else?
Could you close that door for me, please? Thank you.
We'll see going over this tonight. It's just very And I also have a single-use plastic bag sheet. We won't be going over it tonight, but that'll be just for your information.
Are you all set here? Or?
I think I need to plug it in just because the PC wouldn't work.
So
The box not plugged in there.
Yeah, it's plugged in. It's plugged in here, just so that you know.
oh, there's a, do you want it from the other side? There.
project to you all. So my name is Ali DeFranzo, and I am the STEM coordinator at Girls Inc. of Lynn. I'm here to introduce the Beach Sisters program, who has worked on this project this session. So Beach Sisters is a collaborative project between Girls Inc. of Lynn and the Northeastern Marine Science Center in Nahant. The goals of the Beach Sisters program are to increase a connection to your local environment, increase environmental stewardship, and overall increase the participation of underrepresented girls in STEM. So every year we hire to the Beach Sisters program 4 to 6 peer leaders, and their role is to educate the younger girls at Girls Inc. of Lynn about marine and environmental science. And they also plan and work on their own community service projects like the one we're going to share with you tonight. So Beach Sister peer leaders over the past year have been working on getting a single-use plastic bag ban passed in the city of Lynn. So here's the girls to present to you right now. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elvira. I'm a freshman at Lynn Tech, and I joined Beach Sisters because I want to show people that women can make a difference in our community.
Hi, my name is Luna. I'm also a freshman at Lynn Tech, and I wanted to bring art to our marine science lessons and to the STEM community.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I'm a fellow freshman at Lynn Tech, and I joined Beach Sisters to help protect our environment.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a freshman at Lynn Tech, and I recently started my position as a peer leader. Thank you for inviting us, and we hope that you can support the single-use plastic bag ban.
Origins of the project. So the 2018 Beach Sisters teams were identifying problems in our community, and litter was by far one of the most prevalent problems. They realized that one of the most common items was the single-use plastic bag, and plastic bags can have a very negative impact on our health of our community members and the environment. And because of this, we decided we wanted to help and take action to prevent this plastic pollution. And we are passionate to continue this work in 2019 and beyond.
So what motivated us? First off, we wanted to prevent harm to wildlife caused by plastic pollution in the environment. We wanted to clean up the city of Lynn for the benefit of the community and for the people in it. We wanted to limit microplastics in the ocean because we wanted to prevent them from entering our bodies through food and water. We wanted to be a role model for other cities to become more environmentally friendly. And we wanted to reduce the amount of plastic taking up space in already limited landfills. We also wanted to reduce the cost to the city of Lynn because caused by plastic bags contaminating recycling.
So we care about plastic pollution because, one, we want to see less plastic on our streets, and we worry about the health effects caused by plastic in our water, and we would like to keep Lynn's ecosystem healthy. And plastic bags harm sea turtles and other predators of the jellyfish, as you can tell from the picture above, because they're almost impossible to tell apart when they're underwater. So a look at plastic bags in Massachusetts. The blue is the towns and cities that have already regulated the single-use plastic bags, and the red lines are towns and cities with a representative supporting the proposed statewide bag ban. As you can see, the coastal cities are mainly blue because they are mainly affected.
The numbers statewide bag ban data. So bans are present in 11 out of the 14 counties in the Commonwealth. Boston is the largest community in the eastern United States to have passed a local ban. Massachusetts residents are estimated to use more than 2 billion bags per year. That's about a bag per person per day. Plastic bag regulations have been approved in 90 cities and towns in Massachusetts. And Representative Lori Ehrlich has resubmitted her drafted statewide single-use plastic bag ban this year.
So what we've done is we've researched the effects of plastic pollution, and we've educated younger girls about environmental stewardship. We've also wrote and translated a script for how to create a reusable bag, and we've run a reusable bag drive to distribute over 700 collected and handmade bags to meal kitchens and food pantries. We've also collected over 400 signatures in support of a petition to ban single-use plastic bags in the city of Lynn. And we've presented to other youth at the Youth Assembly in Chelsea about plastic pollution and issues surrounding limiting single-use plastic bags. And we've met with city and state leaders.
Last year we met with Mayor McGee. We Nelson Perez, State Representative Lori Ehrlich in her office, Senator Brendan Crichton, James Cowdell, Governor Baker's Deputy Legislative Director, Ace Speaker of the House, Robert DeVille, Ace Chairman of the House and Ways Committee, Jeff Sanchez, Lynn City Council, Brian Libby. Potential challenges for Lynn. Make the bag ban realistic for small businesses. Control the quality of paper bag replacements. Steer behavior towards using the reusable alternatives, not similar single-use options. Increase public understanding of what the bag ban means. Help the public understand the extent of the bag ban.
So what are the next steps? For starters, we wanted to make 2 public videos on ways to reduce plastic pollution in Lynn. One to work to create and provide more public education on the issue of plastic pollution and single-use bags. One to create and implement a public survey to learn about how Lynn people feel about the single-use plastic bag ban. And one to work to continue our anti-plastic pollution storm drill mural project. So thank you, and we'd like to have your input.
Do you have any questions for us about the presentation or the Beaches program?
Do you have any concerns with conditions?
Would you support limiting single bag use in the...
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Not that we have any questions, I'd like to thank you. We've dealt with you folks before. Some other issues that you've enlightened folks with. Take it seriously, and also our intent tonight is to set up a public hearing date for one question I did have, you had something in there about a survey to Lynn folks to see how they felt about it. Is that already in progress, or is that something you're going to do? Or?
Oh, so far, I don't believe we've started it, but it is something we're looking forward to doing very soon.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time and efforts. We appreciate it a great deal.
Thank you.
Okay.
We would have to... A lot of Marbleheads wanted to say,
We did it. Right. Okay. So you want to have we need 30 days to advertise for a public hearing, right? So we're looking at May's meeting? For the May?
do I need 30 days? Can I need 14?
It's up to you. You want to do it for April? Okay. You need a motion. Okay, we're going to make a motion that for April's board meeting, we will have a public hearing regarding the plastic bans. Plastic ban Okay, so the motion on the floor is to set April's board meeting as the public hearing date for the plastic ban bag. You looking for a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. You want to do the other, and then that's it, we'll do it.
I just wanted to... The next item on the agenda is to discuss setting down a public hearing for the flavor ban for tobacco. Joyce Redford, our other member, is just going to speak a little bit to you, just to give you an idea as to...
Yep, Joyce. Do you want to explain when she's speaking more? Do we need to explain when she's speaking more?
What is
Director?
For those of you that don't know,
You're here, I'll
Joyce,
ask you. What is your title?
Director of the North Shore Cape Ann Tobacco Policy Program.
did it better than me.
It's a mouthful if you don't say it all the time. So the first thing I'd like to say, just for the whole audience to hear, but I know we're not taking any comment, I completely understand and support that, is that many of the merchants, as Michelle mentioned, received notification with actually misinformation, and we've been spending the last couple weeks trying to clarify some of the issues. So the city of Somerville proposed a cutting edge, I would say, regulation regarding flavor restriction that would have also included menthol and mint, and removed all e-cigarettes out of the retail environment. This is not what the city of Lynn is even entertaining, nor was it going to be anything that I was going to talk about because it wasn't on the table as a subject for us. But for the audience's sake, I wanted to clarify that that's not what we're talking about this evening. The city of Somerville has decided to move forward with that, and that's great, but we're not the city of Somerville. So I'm here to talk about flavored tobacco products, and I have some things for the board just to look at in terms of what they are, where they are, and what our numbers are. So we have, as you know, 140 tobacco permits in the city of Lynn, and we did cap that a year or so ago, which was a very good decision, obviously, because based on our data, those numbers and the retail density is very high compared to the state average. So we've at least capped that portion, and we are staying at that cap, we're steady at that cap. So this is just a fact sheet about the city of Lynn in terms of the number of retailers compared to our population, and smoking rates, which are very high in the city as well. They are, I have it here, 21.39 of adults 18 or older are smoking. The adult smoking rate is 42% higher in Lynn than statewide, and the rate of smoking during pregnancy is 7% higher than state average. So obviously we have a public health issue in the city, and all the measures that we talk about for tobacco control are because of these issues. So the new look of addiction is, and we've talked about this at different Board of Health meetings because of compliance rates, is the e-cigarette market. This should not be new to anybody in the room. It's been on television, in the news, because of Juul and the FDA and the insurgence of e-cigarettes. So this is the new look of addiction. You know, it's no longer your combustible tobacco. We did a really good job at getting those numbers down to statewide, down to for youth initiation to about 7%, which is something we were really proud of. And according to new studies, we've erased all of our progress. So progress erased, and this is from the CDC. I'm not making these numbers up. Youth tobacco use increased during 2017 and 2018. So we erased all of those, all the progress we've made with combustible tobacco because of the introduction of these new products. And flavored products being the starter component. So the FDA in 2009, at the federal level, banned any flavored cigarettes. What they didn't do is expand that to other tobacco products. Other tobacco products being things like the e-cigarette market, which was not even in existence in 2009. And then the flood after 2009 from the industry to make every single other kind of flavored tobacco, tobacco flavored. So just as an example, we have e-liquids. This is grape. Some of these are going to be something you put in an open chamber e-cigarette, which means you fill it and you vape from it. Others are closed chamber. That would be the Juul. And Juul currently owns 70% of the market share. So e-cigarette use is increasing, has increased, but Juul really has cornered the market. And now there are knockoffs for the Juul products. So Juul products with flavor, these are the pods. They go into the device, and I can show you a picture of a device. So the device, the Juul device specifically, but there's others that look like it, and now other companies are mimicking this sleek look because they know it's appealing. But the reason why the federal government banned flavored products is they acknowledged in 2009 that this was a starter product.
1 minute.
Sure.
Let them shut that door.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was easy for youth to use it and not have the harsh effects. You may remember, as I do, when young people started smoking when we were young, you took a hit off a cigarette. It was very harsh. There weren't flavored cigarettes back when I was a kid. It was either menthol or like a regular Marlboro type cigarette. You'd cough, you'd take a couple drags, and it took a long time to get up to being a pack a day or 2 pack a day user. With things like Juul and these other flavored products, they're salt-based, they have an extremely high concentration in nicotine. So one of these pods, which I will show you, is the equivalent to the nicotine in an entire pack of cigarettes. And because they're flavored and salt-based, they're smooth going down and they taste good because it's cool cucumber, blueberry, strawberry, creme brulee, cherry, mango, fruit medley, and every other name. This is cool cucumber. So the other issue is that there's knockoffs coming out on the market, and so benignly, Juul says 5% strength. It looks like, first of all, it's lighter than any of us can probably see from even this close. And then it doesn't tell you 5% of what. So it's 5% translate to 59 milligrams or thereabouts in one of these little pods. And the knockoffs, so a pack of these goes anywhere from $15 to $20. This one happened to be bought by one of our youth, and it was $17.99, not in the city of Lynn, but that's what they go for. So the knockoffs are selling for $10 to $15 to $17, and they have an even higher concentration at 6%. So one pod is equivalent on the knockoffs to about a pack and a quarter of cigarettes. This has become an epidemic. That's stated by the FDA, the CDC. Ask any of our school systems, they'll tell you this is their biggest struggle right now is youth vaping. And flavor makes that a really appealing process. A lot of young people think that this is benign. It doesn't have anything addictive in it, and even parents believe that in some cases. There's a lot of adults who use these and think it is a product to use to quit. Even on their packages, it says we're not a cessation device because they're not approved to be a cessation device. There's no FDA measures for these, so that it's not a consistent delivery. It doesn't have to be a consistent delivery of nicotine. Unlike Nicorette gum or the patch, those are FDA approved. They deliver a certain amount of nicotine that's measured and proven. These aren't. Yep.
Why haven't the feds done something?
Well,
Or do you know?
first of all, the federal government moves much slower. The higher we go in government, the slower the cogs move. But the federal government has taken action specifically against Juul because they wanted to know how so many youth were getting addicted, and they raided their business and found out that the introduction of this particular product was done all through social media. So obviously who's using social media but young people, right? So that's one problem. Then just through social media, other kids using it caught on. And the fact that it doesn't look like what we know as tobacco, right?
What's the propaganda that you smoke this is safer than a cigarette?
Yeah. Or it's not anything like, it isn't a cigarette, which you could ask kids in high school who are juuling would say, I would never smoke a cigarette. It doesn't smell like the typical combustible cigarette. It doesn't look like it. Anecdotally, I was telling Michelle today that I went out to dinner and spoke with an adult, not even a youth. I came out of a restaurant. He was vaping on a Juul. I said to him, is that a Juul? He said, yes. And I said, oh, really, you use this? Is this new? And he said, I transferred from smoking traditional combustible cigarette, and this is anecdotal, but it's a conversation I just had 3 days ago, And he said, but I don't smoke I vape much more frequently than I smoked, but it moved me from tobacco to this. And I said, but you realize this has a high concentration of nicotine? He goes, yeah, and now I have to get off this. This is like crack. That was his definition, and he's using these as an adult user. So our young people are even more influenced by this and impacted by it. So here's a list. So the proposal is to include a flavor restriction, which would just move these flavored products from the retail environment into adult only. Currently, we have 3 adult only, what would qualify as adult only establishment. What would constitute an adult only establishment if they chose to carry these flavored products is that no one under 21 would be allowed to even go over the threshold. The second thing is they're not able to carry any other products. They can't have a food service permit, gas, alcohol, newspaper. This would be their exclusive product is tobacco and nicotine products. And they could have flavor if they chose that that was the model they wanted to go under, if this was adopted. Because we have a cap and we're at the cap, those 3 would be in existence, but a new permit, there's a waiting list. We have 1 business on a waiting list. But as permits became available, somebody could come into the city and choose to use one of those as adult only, or the typical convenience store that we have, gas, mini mart, grocery store, whatever. This here is just a list for you to look at, just a visual. There's 140, we talked about 90 communities with plastic bag bans. This is, with flavor restrictions on the second page, 140 municipalities in Massachusetts already have these flavor restrictions. The highlights in yellow are our collaborative members. As you know, we're a member of a 16 community collaborative. Those are the communities within the collaborative who already enacted the flavor restriction. And most interestingly is out of the top 15 largest cities in Massachusetts, those highlighted in blue have flavor restriction. And Lynn is the 6th largest, so we could certainly, this isn't cutting edge, it's not like no one's done this before. Our surrounding communities, cities and towns, Salem, Saugus is a town, but Salem, Peabody, Marblehead, Danvers, Swampscott is going to a public hearing one day this month. So this is not new in terms of being around the area. Some of the merchants here in the city have already been impacted by this because they own establishments in other communities, and often here it should be a level playing field. And if you remember workplace laws, it sounds good to push it on the state, but as we moved along the continuum, as municipalities moved slowly but continually, then the state went with a workplace law, and I anticipate when that number gets to a critical mass, you'll start seeing our state, and as more evidence comes out that, what an epidemic we have. So that's my presentation. We have lots of information from the CDC, FDA, all the health, important health medical journals that are supporting these restrictions for the reason that we have a new epidemic of young people vaping, and that you're not prohibiting adults from getting access to these products. There's 3 establishments that would be here in the city, and there are some in surrounding communities as well. So that's my proposal. My hope is that we can at least move it to a draft, so that we're looking at this in a draft and then potentially public hearing.
And at the public hearing, you'll be here also to inform others what they propose.
Absolutely, and we have support from residents, and I've asked the merchants who have been impacted by this in other communities, who continue to say about a level playing field, rather than fighting it in a city, how about standing up and saying, I understand why you're doing this, this happened to me in another community, and I'm here to say Lynn should be just like everybody else, because it's impacting me in Salem and Saugus and all these other communities, so if Lynn moved forward, they know what it's like. And we certainly have resident support, which we'll submit at a public hearing, just like, the merchants will have an opportunity to speak, so will residents, and we'll have letters of support.
So for adults who are currently vaping, or adults who are smoking, want to try to switch from, get off the combustible
One to the other.
tobacco to the vaping, what's available for unflavored vaping products?
So currently, probably about, I would say, just a guesstimate, I haven't gone out and actually, but all of these products come in a regular tobacco flavor, just tobacco, or mint and menthol. And even...
Which you're not proposing that we put any restrictions?
No, so all the retail environments would, I mean, all the retail outlets would be able to carry those. So this doesn't, this includes like, so going from the oldest kind of old school, you're looking at Newports would not be impacted. They'd be in the retail environment. Marlboro would not be impacted. The
Menthol cigarettes would not be impacted?
menthol, not at all.
Only plus menthol?
Mint, like if you had chew, this is a flavored one, but a lot of chew comes in wintergreen, peppermint, menthol. That would not be impacted. Those would stay in the retail environment. It's the stuff like this that says grape or, and there are no flavored cigarettes by federal law and haven't been since 2009. So nothing's going to change with cigarettes. It's going to be small cigars, things like these, grape, blue, which is blueberry or vanilla, you know, blunt-filled blueberry, cherry, wine. These are all flavors to make it easier for, and all of these e-liquids, every one of them is flavored. They do have, even Juul has a regular tobacco flavor. They have menthol and they have a cool mint. So there's that, even Juul would stay in the environment, just the more kid-attractive, kid-friendly flavors would move.
So the regular tobacco flavors and the menthols will still be in all stores?
Yep, and mint.
And you've showed us in the past that a lot of these fruity flavored tobacco products and vaping products are packaged with much more brighter colors.
Well, that one is one of the
designs that
absolutely. So even these
clearly
two,
more appealing to
young people.
Marketed towards
the youth.
Right. And that one, I always use this one as an example because I think, who is this geared to? There's no cigar aficionado who's golfing at Gannon Golf Course who's, you know, got his Bluntville blueberry 12-year-old package, open it up and having a smoke on the greens. But even things like this, like, so Game, this is one, you see a lot of flavors. This is grape. They too have pineapple, mango, vanilla, honey. But even these would stay in the retail environment. Green is not a flavor, it's the kind of tobacco. And the silver is just like the difference between like a bolder flavor. And there's black, so even these would stay in the retail environment. They just would, this one would go.
More artificial flavor.
I don't know how, yeah, this is all artificial, right? So there would still be, we're not taking every single tobacco product. The intention is not to take every single tobacco product out of the retail environment. So, any other questions?
No, I'll just make comments on the vaping. One concerning thing about vaping is no one really knows yet what the long-term health implications of vaping.
Correct. We know some short-term ones.
But we don't know the long-term.
Exactly, and they already know that there are some short-term negative impacts on the lung and the vascular system. But as you indicated, the use hasn't been there long enough, and it hasn't been around long enough to have these long-term studies. So it's kind of alarming that we've got in our high schools and middle schools 50% of youth reporting, self-reporting, that they've used Juul in like the last 30 days. And given the high concentration in nicotine, you could never imagine ourselves young getting addicted to a pack of cigarettes in a short amount of time. It just wouldn't happen. It would be way too harsh to do. And now youth could be vaping a pod a day, or sharing a pod and maybe a half a pod, and it's a half a pack.
59 milligrams.
Yeah.
The nicotine content's higher, so it's more addictive.
Much higher. Well, it's higher in that it's the equivalent of this, but to start out with at 11, 12, and 13, which is when almost all smokers begin to smoke, and now vape, you would have never gone from trying this to a pack within like a month.
A pack lasted you a week and 10 days.
Or even longer. You weren't doing a pack at 11 years old, for sure. So this is why I think this is important for the Board of Health to consider and move forward with.
Very good. Okay, well, set down a date for the public hearing for that?
So it's entirely up to you if you want to have it the same day as the plastic bag ban, or we could do 2 meetings in April, or we could do 1 in April. Well, we've already set down plastic bag.
I could recommend that we get the draft for the April meeting, so the board approves a draft, and then if they choose to move forward from there, that it happen in May, and that way we have a draft to present to the public to say what it is exactly the language would be. And I think given the interest in this with misinformation, it would give us an opportunity to provide real information about what we intend to do.
So you need a motion, you don't need a motion, we're gonna review it in April, we'll make the motion in April for a May public hearing. So for those of you who came thinking that this was gonna be a public hearing, it looks as if it's going to be in May. It's not etched in stone yet, we need to look at a draft law, make sure it says what we want it to say, and then have the public hearing and finalize, make changes to the draft after the public hearing, we don't know. Okay, great.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. My name is Adam Ponte. I'm an attorney.
I'm not, you know what?
Yeah.
I said no, no,
Yes.
no.
I never want to put on the
No.
record
You can't.
that we would like the opportunity to present this law
No.
at some point. Just want to put that on the record. I apologize for interrupting.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you, George.
Okay.
All right.
Do you have the date for the April meeting already set?
April 9th.
Okay, I just want to put it on, you know, make sure I don't say anything else.
I have one more order of business. I've been getting a lot of everything that
You have to step outside, because the meeting's continued.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I have been getting a lot of calls from other communities who have signed a letter, and this is the draft letter that they've put together. We don't have to follow it, but we can use it as a sample. This one is,
Oh, asking them to,
we'll ask the governor they say a risk of natural gas and how cooking with gas in in-home 90 boards of health have written to Governor Baker about the risks of natural gas. This is a picture that was sent to me about pertaining to Lynn. That only.
and this came about because of the mess in North Andover. Are you gonna look for a vote on this tonight? To send a letter?
I can wait.
I would rather have Mike here too.
Sure.
I think it's sort of better to have this be unanimous.
Okay.
And something to the governor's office.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's not gonna kill us 2 weeks.
So on April 9th for the plastic bag ban. Now, April 9th is the second Tuesday in April, but it's April 9th. It's not April 8th. But April 9th is the Tuesday that Mike can usually make.
testing my hearing aid or whatever it is.
I know. That's why the other room was very conducive.
Yeah.
But
Does life work for you? Okay. Good for
so
me.
April 9th, we'll do the plastic bag ban. This is just some information as a draft proposal. I haven't sat with the solicitor yet to discuss, to put down
And they just gave me a copy of an ordinance from Boston.
I have Boston, Salem, I sent that to you earlier, Boston, Salem, Marblehead, and Swampscott. All right? Just to give you, just different views as to what we should, like I don't think it should affect, like our newspaper bags, or when you go grocery shopping and you use a plastic bag for your apples and things like that.
Well, that's not a single-use bag. You can reuse those. I would use the other ones too.
But if you find in this, and then if you don't, like, tell me, add anything, take away anything, I agree with that, like even cleaning bags. I've been in the cleaners twice, and people have left their plastic.
And what does Boston do? Do they ban malt?
They did not ban that. They did not ban newspapers, produce, I should just say produce bags.
Yeah, those green bags that keep them fresh longer there that just came out.
Well, that then just the little ones on the wall when they go
That's it, yes.
to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That was just a
You don't mind if I
guess.
keep this here?
I think, I might have sent you one, I think. I might have sent you one for the February meeting. I think Joseph did it to me at that time, but. So this is what, I don't know if you thought, that's what was going around.
You said that in the email,
Okay,
right?
yeah. Good call.
It said menthol, right?
No, I'll show you.
It says a ban sale of menthol, methamphetamine,
Yes, which is
and all vapor products. Carry this information, one of those.
exactly, that's what it was for. So,
Somebody got them worked up. They left their ticking water bottle.
that was probably the girls. Actually, I'll take that back. That's what, and that's the only new business I have. Old business, which I thought was interesting. This February numbers came out for opioids. Sorry, I forgot to, it caught my eye. In February, there were 14 overdoses, which was last year in February of 18, it was 38. This year, it was 14. So it is down, but there were some fatalities.
And we talked about this at the other meeting, John, and we said that some of it could be attributed to Afghan, say some, that they're not important. But lower numbers are lower numbers, so it's good either way. If you're saving someone's life, it should come out, I guess.
This was criminal calculation, right?
Okay, let me know what the calculation is.
So the fatality rate was 11%.
For February? Or last year?
And this year it's 17%. We'll have to go along with the Narcan. Could do some decreased reporting.
You know, in theory,
Right, because you wouldn't be calling that one.
or you know, in
But
theory,
still, the numbers, the numbers
At
down.
least they're down, right? They're
even in
going down.
theory, if someone gets saved by narcotics, you can't counsel someone to change if they're dead. That one chance that you save them might be the time you can get through to them, you know. So, to me, a plus is a plus, either way.
I agree.
Okay, we're good?
Good?
Looking for a motion to adjourn? Seconded, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you so much, girls.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe you can have the big dog come to sign that letter, give them a call during the week?
I'll email it.
And you said that they tell us to meet people are awesome. You know, really good food pictures.
Unbelievable. They're awesome.
Next meeting, if you don't mind, bring us another copy of the report, so I don't have to see that new report. It's really good. The one that they use there, the new one, awesome.
I'll show you what we used
Detailed
for
oriented, it's working.
compare. So this was their updated, February 25th, when they were good to go. And
That's great.
I had that January.
Where's talking to?
Keep on busy. That was stored towards the end, and then this was their
We've adjourned, sir.